So welcome, 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 our beloved and brilliant colleague, Filsan. We so appreciate your consistent leadership and most importantly, your commitment and dedication to community and community economic development. And as always at SETC, we begin all things by giving thanks to our creator, to our sustainer. We give thanks and acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Filsan, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Victor, for your kind and generous introduction. So the work side of things, my name is Filsan Farah, I should say first. I am program leader of VERGE Capital. But outside of work, I'm a daughter, a sister, an auntie, a friend, dedicated to community and eternally curious about how building blocks can come together.
Ashe, Ashe, I love that. And the humility, your body of work and the amount that you do could never be encapsulated in two sentences, but the way you pulled it off with such grace, I appreciate that. So in
Thank you.
terms of your work right now, what's inspiring you? What has you curious? Or more importantly, what's keeping you up at nights, if anything?
Yeah, great question. What inspires me most, honestly, connecting to entrepreneurs, innovation, leaders in innovation. So just, spending my days, especially now with Verge, we've launched a new fund. So I have this real privilege and something that I really don't take for granted and just get so excited every day, connecting with different entrepreneurs and just seeing their thoughts and how they can be that catalyst, their initial inspiration thoughts of, well, here's a problem and here is my motivation in wanting to address this problem, and then the mechanics of how they're going to get there. And then I think on the largest scale too is seeing that growth of when those entrepreneurs get to that point of saying, okay, well, we've now built this, but we see a way to enter this bigger ecosystem and be the catalyst of a systems change. So really connecting different sectors together just by the innovation that entrepreneurs start off in imagining. And yeah, that's really what inspires me most.
Incredible. Thank you so much for all that context. I appreciate you. So my next question, what challenges and barriers do you face in your work? And what are some of the approaches you and your colleagues are taking to overcome some of these challenges or barriers?
Yeah, I think in terms of place-based funds, I think a challenge has always been, how do we connect to one another? There's so many remarkable place-based funds throughout the country, all doing the remarkable, impactful work of connecting their communities, the investors and the entrepreneurs, and building those building blocks. So how do we connect to one another? I think that's been a challenge for most place-based intermediaries, and that's something that I think as you know, Victor, a lot of the work at Catalyst, what we've been really talking about and convening. So just a lot of the conversations that are going right now to really inspire that continued connectivity and a network approach, although we have different focus in different regions, but there's still a way for us to find ways to share knowledge, best practices, and also imagine a future of how we can continue to ensure that there are more place-based funds.
Indeed, indeed. So do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work? I know you spoke about Breakthrough 2.0. Really excited about that. But do you have a set of key priorities that you'd like to share with our colleagues?
Yeah, absolutely. So with our new fund, Breakthrough Fund 2, which we launched in the fall, our number one priority for this portfolio is really collaborating and supporting with entrepreneurs from underrepresented communities and also affordable housing. So that's obviously a very big crisis throughout the country, and climate action projects. So those are three key priorities for our Breakthrough Fund 2.
Thank you so much. So my next question, how do you feel about the future of place-based investing or just impact investing in Canada? Are you hopeful? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? How do you feel?
I'm always an optimist. And I think we have great reason to be optimistic with what we're seeing in the wider ecosystem right now. I think there's a lot of patience also that needs to accompany that optimism, and we are really in the early stages of building blocks of our sector. So we obviously have a long way to go when we look at other geographical places. So if we're looking at the United Kingdom, if we're looking at America, if we're looking at Latin America, there's so many different places. We're looking at a lot of remarkable work being done in Africa. So there's so much that we can aspire to, but I think we are just in a remarkable space where we can feel, at least I can feel the energy, the optimism, and then people coming together who are really integral parts of different spaces in our ecosystem. So this collective, imagining together and what each individual network, institution, organization, so what everybody is bringing together in this space that we find together now, in that there is a large where we're moving forward in terms of, we see the social finance fund, so how we can all collectively really amp up and move towards that. So yeah, in short, I'm optimistic and excited.
I love it. Thank you so much. I'm the same way. I think as a husband and father of four, I don't have choice. I don't have a choice. I have to be optimistic for the future of the planet, despite what I see and hear on the news and on Democracy Now every day. But with that being said, my next question: what is your ultimate goal, and what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
Yeah, success. I mean, success, when I think about success, looks like I have to think in different ways, from a micro to a macro. So in terms of, when we're looking at macro, obviously the entrance of new players in the ecosystem, whether it is new investors, whether it is coming from different perspectives. So you and I had just had a conversation about just wanting to see more increase of perspective in the ecosystem. So obviously, and the shift of really understanding that there is a place for social finance, I think, of the impact and sector, and for it to get to that point where it is a norm, it is understood, it is to be here, disrupting this system of capital and finance that I think for far too long has been the status quo. So really seeing that, it's not an alternative anymore, but it is here, and this is a reality, right? And so I think from a micro perspective too, it is when we think about community and community finance, who else is at the table, right? So when we're thinking about, and in this sense, I'm speaking to in place-based funds. So really seeing the emergence of new funds, different communities coming forth, and really the imagination of different ways of distributing capital. And I think when we talk about success, both micro and macro, if it isn't based on equity, then the success is really not there.
Ashe, I couldn't agree more. Thank you for that. So my last question: do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our listeners and our viewers?
Yeah, and I think this also has me thinking about a lot what I've been thinking about personally too. Some personal calls to action, things that I've kind of been telling myself, hey, this is something I need to really spend a lot of time and attention. And that's thinking of ways as how we as individuals can also participate. And when I say that, I mean as retail investors, right? So there's a lot of great products and opportunities that we're seeing emerge from different communities throughout the country, whether it's a community bond, whether it's something in the outcomes of finance, but how we can participate. So there's so many opportunities, but I think when we also think about shifting the perception of who is an investor, and who can be an investor, these are ways that we as individuals can also participate there. So really supporting these community initiatives and taking part as retail investors. That's a call to action that I personally am just telling myself these days, and I think that's something that would be great for all of us to consider.
Ashe, I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, Filsan, for everything that you do for so many. And I greatly appreciate your consistent solidarity, grace, compassion, empathy, and this is the level of authenticity that you consistently bring to this work. But most importantly, your solidarity. Whenever we call, you're there, and you're there for community. And this is vocational work for you. And I just appreciate you for all that you stand for. I've worked alongside you at many tables at Catalyst Community Finance and others, and I just really appreciate you in so many ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Always a pleasure. And again, thank you so much for your generous, kind words.
Indeed, indeed. And as always at SETC, we close the way we began by giving thanks to our creator, our sustainer, by giving thanks and acknowledging the original stewards of various lands we're on. We give thanks and acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you, fam.